And he did like me, and he still likes me, and he's a great man, and say hello to him. He's a great guy with a great son. But a short time ago, we were together, and he looked at me, and he said, you know, it's amazing. 1 year ago, you were a dead country. Now you're the hottest country anywhere in the world. He didn't think this was going to happen. He didn't think he'd be kissing my ass. He really didn't. He thought he'd be just another American president that was a loser, where the country was going downhill. But now he has to be nice to me. You tell him he better be nice to me. He's got to be. But it was really something. He said, though, he said, you know, it's amazing, President, because he's a very smart, but a regular kind of a guy. He said, you know, it's amazing, President. A year ago, in that case, it was a year and a half. It was 6 months ago. But a year ago, you were a dead country. Now you're literally the hottest country anywhere in the world. And that was before we beat the hell out of Iran. You know, now I think he's got to say even better. I think we have to up it. But he's fantastic. And everything we do, we're working to make America the #1 place on earth to do business. We passed the largest tax cuts in American history, including no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. We provided 100% expensing and bonus depreciation so that anyone who wants to build a factory can deduct the entire cost of equipment and the entire factory in the first year. That used to take 38 years to do. You'd take it little drips. Now it's done. And you know, a lot of people remember that my first 4 years was the most successful time we've ever had financially in the history of our country. We had an unbelievable success, but this is much better. And by the way, when this war ends, it's going to be like a rocket ship. I thought we were going to go down more, and I thought oil prices were going to go up higher than they are now. It's not finished yet. I'm not saying it's sort of finished, but it's not finished. It's got to be finished. And I thought that we would see a bigger drop in stock. Hasn't been that bad. You know, it's sort of crazy. I hit 50,000 on the Dow. People said that wouldn't be possible within 4 years. I did it in 1 year. And then we hit 7,000 on the S&P. People said that's even harder than hitting 50,000 on the Dow. And I did that in less than 1 year. Toward the end of the year, both of them, we broke every record, every stock record we broke. And you're big beneficiaries because so many of you invest in the United States, and keep doing it because it's going to be a rocket ship. You watch. But then I said, all right, do I have to do this? We have a country that's sick and demented, and they have a nuclear weapon, or they want to have one. They were very close to getting it. Remember, they were 2 weeks away. They were 2 weeks away. If we didn't hit that, I call it the nuclear dust. I use the term nuclear dust. If we didn't knock the hell out of them, they would have had a nuclear weapon within 2 to 4 weeks, and they would have used it on you and on Israel and on everyone else. And I said, we really do have to stop and go on a little different journey for a little while and take them out and then go back to life. And that's what we did. And we did it violently. We did it powerfully. We did it with the respect of the world. And we helped a lot of allies. And we learned about other allies. We learned that other allies weren't there. We didn't need them, but they weren't there if we did need them. And that's going to be very costly for them. The stock market has set 53 all-time record highs since the election, adding $9 trillion in value to America's savings and retirement accounts and 401ks. Everybody's benefiting by this. And more Americans are working today than at any time in the history of our country, at any time. To me, that's the #1 stat. More Americans are working today, by far, than at any time in the history of our country. And in 14 months, we've lifted 3.3 million Americans off of food stamps. That's a record. And Biden and his allies wrecked our country. They wreaked havoc on our economy, and they gave us the worst inflation in American history. Under Trump, during the last 3 months of 2025, we got core inflation down to 1.6%. And right now, the average tax refund for filers, because of the great big beautiful bill, has been close to $5,000. It's a lot of money for a family. And this, when I'm talking to Saudi Arabia and I'm talking about $5,000, they look at me, 5,000? That's like a penny, right, David? That's like a penny. Saudi Arabia is not into $5,000, but it's Saudi Arabia. I just want to ask, are the Saudis impressed by the fact that a family has saved $5,000? I know they're looking like, what the hell is 5,000? Their shoes cost them more than 5,000. But that's the way it goes. We're talking about the real world. In his entire term, Joe Biden, I have two terms for him, Crooked Joe and Sleepy Joe. It's always been pretty, I do sometimes a poll, which is a more accurate term, sleepy or crooked, pretty much even. I like sleepy. In his entire term, Sleepy Joe Biden got less than $1 trillion of new investment in the United States, a lot less. And in our first 11 months, 12th month is coming, it's going to be big, we did $18 trillion. Think of it, less than $1 trillion for 4 years. In 11 months, we did $18 trillion. And we have factories being built all over the country at a level that's never been seen before. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that I allow these plants and everything to build their own electricity. Well, we need big electricity. They're all building their own electricity. But a lot of it has to do with the tax bill, a lot of them, because it's really the biggest tax reduction bill in history, the great, big, beautiful bill. And a lot of it has to do with the one-year deductibility where you build a plant and you take the whole thing as a deduction. I did that in my first term also, but I had it for 1 year. Now I have it for 10 years. So it's pretty amazing, and it's pretty amazing what we're seeing. But it all started with our historic visit to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. My first visit was to the future king. And on that first foreign trip of my presidency last May, the Crown Prince announced that Saudi Arabia would be investing an incredible almost $1 trillion in the United States, which he later increased. As just a few examples of these new partnerships, Oracle will be building a $14 billion worth of cloud computing and AI infrastructure in the kingdom. I didn't know that, David. We have to talk to your father about that. Why isn't he doing it here, David? I'm very upset with you. And by the way, David has done a very good job. David Ellis said he just had a very big win. And your father's very proud of you because your father said, that's a tough one. And you got it done. It's going to be a great success. You're going to be a great success. You're going to blow away your father. And he'll be very happy about that because he loves you. But